Hello, folks. Welcome. Thanks for this. Wow, we haven't even got started yet. Grab your ukulele. Let's get started and play some gypsy jazz today. Today, we're going to go through this song, Swing Gitan, very popular contemporary gypsy jazz song. I've got my Soundsmith uke here. It's a tenor hollow body, maple. I got my shirt too. These are great. There's a link in the description if you're interested in getting a hollow body uke. These are really nice and very affordable, which is always nice. And they look really sweet, like a jazz guitar. And they're electric, so you can plug it in. I'm going to use Sound Slice here, which many of you have already seen from my Patreon community. That's how I like to practice, and that's how I like to teach. Often it's just to show the music on the screen. So I could do a screen share. If you're watching this and you're on Patreon, or if you're not even on Patreon, please type in the chat so I know who's here and how many people are watching, because that kind of affects the length of this video and how thorough I'm going to get. So if there's more people watching, I'll continue until you can't stop me from talking. So Swing Gitan, let's talk about it. I'm going to load up the lead sheet. You can grab the PDF in the description. It's free. And it's just my little quick arrangement of it. I'm going to show you the chord shapes, some chord soloing ideas, and lots of good stuff today. So this, I probably will say, even though I'll start off easy, this will be kind of from beginner to advanced. So I'm not going to lie. I'm probably getting into some advanced topics here. Feel free to type in the chat. I'd love to see who's here. And if you enjoy these live streams, don't forget to do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started, and I'll check the chat to see if anybody's here joining in. And I'm going to do a screen share of my Sound Slice, and we're going to just go through the chord shapes. So hopefully y'all can see that. Okay. So this song is an A song form. So I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that this is all notated correctly. Here's our A section. It's 8 bars. Oh, wait. Now I take it back. It's not an AABA. It's an AB song form. Better examine it myself. Okay, yeah. So it's an AB. Each section is 16 bars. This is just a quick overview analysis. 16 bars, but it's kind of still broken up into 8-bar progression. So it's a 32-bar song form. But typically, it'll be called an AB. That's mainly just for rehearsing. You know, if you're jamming and you say a B section, A section, but you're going to find out that the difference is basically the last 4 chords. Okay, just there's a quicker harmonic rhythm that's going on here. So we're in the key of G minor, and I could even put that in the key signature. I could put, let's see, 2 flats would be G minor. So if I were kind of proper about this, I would go ahead and do that. Some lead sheets just don't even bother. They just have all the accidentals, you know. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and do that because I like to see the key signatures. So G minor is B flat major. So that's 2 there. So now that's going to be, and this will be available again on my Patreon. This is my Patreon. I've got 2 Patreon communities, by the way. One is now dedicated to the guitar, but it has a ton of old ukulele videos and lessons out there. But now I have a new one that's called patreon.com TRACYKIM /TRACYKIM uke. And it's completely dedicated to the uke. So if you're interested on the uke, I would recommend joining that one if you want. And you can get all of my PDFs, Sound Slice, bonus videos, and be a part of the community, which I'm really trying to build up because there's not many instructors sharing and teaching gypsy jazz ukulele and bossa nova ukulele, jazz ukulele in general. Okay, so enough talk. You're going to see G minor on the chart, A7, D7, G minor. So basically, we're in the key of G minor. We got the 1 chord of minor. We're in the minor G minor, which is B flat major, but we're calling that the minor 1. And that's going to be your 2 dominant. That's your 5, and that's your 1. This is important for analysis because this is a really common chord progression. It's actually take the A train, exactly like you, the girl from Ipanema, but it's in a minor key. So when you start to learn that stuff, it just makes memorizing songs so much quicker and easier when you think of things in numbers. Not only that, you could transpose it to any key, it doesn't matter, because you'll learn the patterns, the chord sequences. Now it's really interesting here. It goes up a half step, and I'm going to call this A flat 7. I kind of think of it in those, some rhythm guitar players might play A flat 6. You could play A flat 7 or A flat 6. The melody leans on the 6th degree. Okay. But I like A flat 7. I consider that as tritone sub for the D7. You either know what I'm talking about or you don't, depending on your level of theory. But don't worry if you don't. It's not necessary to understand all of this stuff, the lingo, the analysis. But if you really want to dive deeper into it, I would definitely say understand the lingo, the tritone sub, and all that stuff. It's good to know that. So the B I call it the B section. So the next in measure 9 here goes to A flat 7, and then back to G minor. And on the chart, it'll say G minor. But again, guitar players, ukulele, what I'm going to show you is G minor 6. We're going to want to play minor 6 chords because that just sounds good for this style of gypsy jazz. We're going to substitute diminished chords for these dominants because we're in a minor key, and those diminished chords sound good, just really good. So again, we're going to be choosing chords that sound like this: minor 6. We want these a lot of minor 6 chords. I generally stay away from open strings, so I'll probably choose this one. And I'm going to write out the chord shapes here for comping. So let's go ahead and get started. But the minor 6 chords are definitely, if you don't know your minor 6, you're going to want to learn your minor 6 inversions. G minor 6, G minor 6, G minor 6, G minor 6. You're going to want to memorize your minor 6 inversions for chord soloing and comping. But just for the purpose of playing these songs with another person, you really just need one shape. You could even just do cowboy G minor, A7. Really cool tune, D7, G minor, A flat 7, G minor 6. You're going to want to add these 6s. Yeah, right here. It's going to say A7, but I'm going to do diminished sub and diminished sub. So again, these substitutions, minor 6, diminished 7 sub for the dominants. These are all really beautiful sound. A lot of 9th chords, 6/9 chords. That's to me the sound of Django Reinhardt, gypsy jazz. So you got to learn those colors. Otherwise, it might sound a little bit more like kind of a folky or Western swing if you're doing that. Just the triad, the basic triads only. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. Actually, I'm going to go back comments, have a sip of coffee here in the afternoon, see if anybody's joining me on this. This is just kind of a feeler to see if anybody is interested in gypsy jazz ukulele. Please feel free to type in the comments here. I'm just checking the comments. I don't see anybody watching this yet. So I'll probably make this a relatively short video, and I'll go on further on my Patreon page to do the full in-depth lesson for this. But let's go ahead and go through this once. The melody is really very beautiful too, so it's good to learn the melody. Actually, let's just play through the melody first. I'll go back now that I just kind of gave you a quick overview of the chords. So again, when we go through the chords here, which I'm going to write out the shapes that I prefer for comping. I'm not going to do the full-blown chord solo. That is all available on Patreon, all the inversions and all this stuff. But the melody is this. Use a pick if you want. Again, a really beautiful, pretty melody. That's the first 8 bars. 1. This is very square, which I recommend. Really dark melody. So again, then the B section is just like the A section, like I was saying, except for the last 4 bars. That's where it varies. So it's generally the song's relatively fast too. So that's the basic tune. And with Sound Slice, it's really great because you can turn on the metronome, count in even, and then have it start from the top and just play along with it. It's just right now, I didn't put a backing track to it yet, but it's just a melody if you want to practice a melody. I'll play some chords here. Improvise, of course, too. So I like to improvise against the melody for practice. So that kind of always makes sure I know where the tune is. I can kind of play the tune and or play against the tune with some soloing, fill in the blanks as if a violin is playing the melody, or if it's a jazz standard, a vocalist might be singing, and then I'd be filling in the blanks again. So that's a good practice tip when you're improvising, is have the melody going in the background, which this you can have it just repeat and loop hours and hours of fun. So anyways, that was the melody there. If you can hear that, I think the melody is kind of low in the mix. I can turn it up. But I'll go ahead and get on to some of these chord shapes for you. Let me just check comments. I'll periodically check just to see if anybody's tuning into these this live stream for the Gypsy Jazz Ukulele. And again, if you're interested in Gypsy Jazz, definitely consider or check out my Patreon page specifically for the uke. The link is in the description, but it's www.patreon.com/TRACYKIM uke. So that's not my other flagship Patreon, which is dedicated mainly for the guitar now. But this has been going on for about a year, and I've got a ton of my materials posted and new materials posted almost daily for the ukulele, jazz uke specifically. Okay, so let's go ahead and get back to this. Let me get the screen share here. And we're going to go through some chords. Feel free to type in the comments and do this if you're enjoying this. Oh, by the way, I have to say, if you're watching this on the Patreon page, please click so that you're actually watching it so it says YouTube in the browser, not Patreon, because that's the only way I know that folks are watching this and enjoying it. Otherwise, I don't think anybody's watching. So, but I know some of you are checking it out, and I hope you are. And let me know, because that way I'll continue making more of these. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to show you the first chord. Like I said, I would not do cowboy G minor. By the way, if I did do cowboy G minor, I would add on double the third here, the B flat, like that. So it almost sounds like a B flat 6 without the F. But that allows me to dampen it like this, make it short and crisp, which is what we want for Gypsy Jazz. We don't want it long. You could, if it was a ballad, you go long, short like this. But I want it really percussive and short. Okay, so that staccato quality makes it swing by having it short. Slight accent on 2 and 4. So instead of that G minor, here's G minor 6. Now, the only problem with that, and I love that chord, but it has 2 open strings on there. And I've got a low G on here if you didn't already know that. But I would use this shape. Okay, this is the next inversion here, G minor 6. So let me go ahead and draw that out for you here. And this may be new for you. So are you going to learn Gypsy Jazz by learning a couple songs? It's a great way to do it. So this is G minor 6. Now for the A7 again, I'm not going to do the cowboy A7 like this or like this. I'm not going to use open strings, but I'm going to do this, but I'm going to add the flat 9. So I'm going to take the root, the A, and I'm going to go up a half step, and I'm going to play diminished 7. These are some of the hacks, tricks again that you can learn that sound really good. Okay. So basically I call that A7 flat 9. The funny thing is the A is now gone when we take this A7 like this and go up half step, we went to the B flat instead, which is a flat 9. So there is no A anymore. So on the chart, it would technically probably say C sharp diminished 7, which is what it is, but it's really functioning as an A7. So we have this. Now, because it's following the cycle of fourths, there's a really important trick. You just go down a half step. When you have two dominant chords that is going around in fourths, meaning A, D, G, C, F, B flat, etc., around the cycle, the circle of fifths, but cycle of fourths backwards of the circle. So it's not fifths, it's fourths. You could just move down chromatically with these dim sevens, and you're following the progression. It's really an easy hack, and it's great for soloing as well, especially when you're learning all those diminished licks and diminished, which again, that's all available on the Patreon page. So this is D7 flat 9. And again, you can think of it as C dim 7, okay? And then it resolves back to the G minor 6. And at this point, we could go down to this G minor 6 or back to this one. I'm just going to go back up to that one. So we'll reuse the same one twice. So again, please play these chords if you're watching live or on the replay on YouTube or on Patreon for that matter. And always leave a comment so I know if folks are enjoying these. Okay, so far we have, I'll show you this. Well, actually, here, I'll show it to you in this view. That's a little bit better. 1, 2, 3, 4. Love that diminish. It's so dark. Down a half step. See how easy that is? And then back. Let's do it again. And we can even practice again with this stuff and have the metronome low in the mix and with the sound slice when I said this stuff. So check it out. 4. Notice how I'm dampening the chords. And of course, if we're really practicing this, and you're really just learning it, these are all new for you. Again, let me know. Then I would loop it and just do it again over and over. Now we can do this for an hour if you want. Really dig it. 2 and 4. G minor 6. Again. Oh, it's getting me a count off. I was wondering, where's the melody? That's a setting, just get rid of the count off. All right, we get the idea. We'll play through the whole thing in a second. But that's how I practice it. That's a nice little medium tempo there, kind of slow. But you go. Notice the dampening. You shuffle a little bit too. Okay, but at first I'd say don't shuffle. Just keep it quarter notes, simple. A flat 7. So I would go to this A flat 7 here. What is A flat 7? If you don't know, here's G7. You would typically play G7 like this. Here, I'm gonna get off the screen share for the portion here. So typically you play G7 like this. So here's A flat 7. Check it out. So you take your G7 and you slide it up 1 fret. That's A flat 7. So this is A7. But because of that open string, you have to refinger it like this. So here's G7 like this. Open, you have 0 fret, I call it. And then A flat 7, A7, B flat 7. You guys get the idea. These are all movable chords when you have these open strings. So learning your open shapes are crucial. You got to know your open chords because all the chords you're playing up here are all built off the open chord shapes still. So here's A7, here's A flat 7, here's A7, here's A7 flat 9, by the way. That's a diminished 7. That's what we call a diminished 7. But here's A flat 7. Okay, so that's the next shape. Let me get back to. There it is. Beautiful. Yeah. And then it says G minor. That's just the basic triad, but we want to spice it up because this gypsy jazz, we're going to play G minor 6. And again, there's no harm in doing this G minor 6, but you have the open string, so you have to be careful. You have to mute it, and I don't like to do this. I like to just lift up the pressure instead of using my left hand as a dampening. So same, I'm going to go right back to that. By the way, A flat 7, A flat 7. Think about all these inversions: A flat 7, A flat 7. Those are your 4 inversions. Just like I was saying, this is good for chord soloing. You know, when you're playing the chords, improvising with chords. G minor. I want to add 9th on. Usually I'll play 9th chord, so that's the next level, but I was trying to keep it simple for this first lesson here for you. This is just assuming you're just getting into gypsy jazz, kind of level 1. This is a really great song to know. It's harder than minor swing. I always start with minor swing for my students, so this is definitely not the first song I would teach for gypsy jazz. If you're just getting started, watch my lessons on minor swing. Got a lot of lessons, a lot of materials for minor swing, Sweet Georgia Brown. And then All of Me is a good one. That's a little bit harder. This song is a good one. Dark Eyes is a great one. Anyways, just join me on Patreon and you'll see my whole list of songs that I always recommend and then how I like to teach this style and the repertoire. It's fun. Avalon's a great song. Drankology, I can go on with all. They're all fun to play, and you're going to learn new chords, but you're also going to see common chord movements. So now we've got almost the first 8 bars here. I'm going to go back to that A7 flat 9. I'm adding it, so now you understand that means diminished 7. If that's new for you, and hopefully you know the shape for the diminished 7. There's only one shape, by the way, the dim 7. There's actually, it's kind of a lie, but you'd have to do this if you wanted to do dim 7, so that's not really worth it. So if you want to get technically all 4 notes in, not just try it, but a dim 7. So that's your A7 flat 9. Let's label, let's see what happened there. D7 flat, I think okay, good. Just making sure I didn't mess anything up. And then D7 flat 9, the real 5. And I'm just putting flat 9 out of courtesy, just to tell you, hey, play dim 7. And that works for your soloing, as I mentioned too. So it's really important strategies for your improvisation in the style, so that you learn your diminished 7 arpeggio. This stuff. All that, you'll hear that quite a bit in this style. This 6-3. Lots of arpeggios. It's kind of ornamented style, kind of embellished. It's just really pretty. So this is the first 8 bars. I'll call it or 16 bars. I'm sorry. This is the A section, is what I'm going to say. And I can loop that now in this view. You can make it a little bit smaller so you can see the chords go by. Actually, I'll just make it a little bit bigger. How about that? I'm going to go ahead and just select this, and we could just practice this for the chords. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions regarding the chords. This is what it's all about. It's just trying to have a little lesson here live with you guys. I'm going to push play. I took the count off, and we'll just kind of jump in. It's not important that we have a count off. We can hear where the beat is, right? The timing, the tempo too. So metronome's on. I'll turn it up just a little bit to make sure we can hear it together. So here we go. We're at 120. Let's slow down to 110 for now, and it's just going to be on loop. The A section. 1, 2. Get the shapes ready. So again, just to review the shapes, we have G minor 6, A7 flat 9, aka dim 7, D7 flat 9, aka C dim 7, and then back to G minor 6. Is that nice? A flat 7. We'll use this inversion shape here, and then back to G minor 6, and then back to the diminished, and then back to the diminished. And when I say back to the diminished, that's A7 flat 9, D7 flat 9. So you're gonna memorize these patterns. I'm just gonna play through it. Well, let's play through it together. Love diminished. Ready? A flat 7. G minor 6. And the melody had a flat 6 in there. Do you guys hear that? It's a little cool bit. But it's flat 9. It's your diminished run. So again, that's how I would recommend practicing. I like to throw in those arpeggios and then try it a little bit more up, 170. See what happens here. Notice the movement. I'm barring for that if you're wondering. I'm not barring. Slide those diminishes. And then you want to get into some improv. And I'm gonna, and that's pretty much how you do it. It's just learn these chord shapes, learn the melody, have fun experimenting with those inversions, as I've started to do, and then you start to work on those leads, those arpeggios. Diminish, down a half step, and then back. And then start to fancy it up just a little bit. So that's what I call soloing strategies. You have triads. That's the stuff. You have arpeggios. Diminish. Down a half step. And back. D minor. G minor, so I don't know what I'm saying. I was in guitar key for saying. But you have all these different arpeggios. And I've got a lot of materials on soloing. So when you're ready for that, check all those out. Let me go back to the comments or see if anybody's tuning in on this lesson. Well, nobody's tuning in unless you guys are shy. So, hey, I really appreciate you watching, even on the replay, if not the live stream. Thanks, guys. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. Join me on Patreon if you want a ukulele by Soundsmith. I love these ukes. They're very affordable. There's a code in the description there. Gets you 15% off. These tenor ukes. And have a great day. See you guys. Appreciate you watching. Cheers.